Bees are dying. In a world which needs pollinators to survive and grow food, there has been a massive increase in the declining populations of bees in the United States. The US has lost an estimated 55.6% to 62% of its bee population in a single season. Today, I will answer the question as to why are we seeing a massive decline in bee populations. Simply put, because of human interference and pesticides, as well as mites that are parasitic to bees. I have two reasons that have brought me to this conclusion. Firstly, pesticides and climate change, and secondly, parasitic mites that have infected bee populations and caused them to die. The first reason is that pesticides and climate change have greatly affected the bee population. With the rapid increase of human expansion and increase in the use of chemical pesticides, there has been a huge impact on bee population. According to Where Have All the Bees Gone, May of 2026, the magazine Sierra Club, but Sierra has learned from university researchers that the hives were also exposed to a cocktail of agricultural pesticides that may have played an important role in the weakening of bee health. The USDA has not yet published the pesticide data, as well as there's a lot of pesticides in there, he said, sometimes at levels that are necessarily great for bees, who McArt's team also frequently found chemical compounds that are produced with amitraz is broken down. These compounds suggest that amitraz was broadly applied in hives that were tested at levels that could enable them to develop resistance. It's definitely higher amitraz levels that we've ever seen in any data sets that's come through our facility. McArt said that we've never seen in any data sets that has come through our facility. McArt said, climate change is another contributing factor to the bee population collapse. The less wildflowers and plants that have been contaminated by climate change also are contributing factors to bee population decline. And the new wave of bee losses is colony collapse returning as of August 2025. Climate change is also playing a role with extreme weather disrupting bees, food supply, and life cycles. Dave Hunter of Crown Bees explains, the challenge is climate change, not enough nesting areas, and of course the reliance upon chemicals in the yard. Now that we've reviewed the first topic of climate change and pesticides, we can now move on to the parasitic mites that have been also affecting bee populations. The increase in pesticides has also led to the contribution of the decline in the bee population, and these parasites, known as Varroa destructors, have continued to wreak havoc on the bee population. Because they have become resistant to amitraz over the course of time and no longer are affected by the pesticide. According to scientists identify the culprit behind the biggest ever US honeybee die-off of June 2025, as soon as scientists in the US Department of Agriculture, or the USDA, caught wind of the record-breaking die-offs, they sprung into action. Now, 6 months later, USDA scientists have finally identified a culprit. According to a preprint posted to the bioRxiv server this month, nearly all the dead colonies tested positive for bee viruses spread by parasitic mites. Alarmingly, every viable mite-specific pesticide or miticide of its kind left in the human's arsenal are no longer functioning. These mites have become resistant to the only reliable pesticide and are wreaking havoc on our bee populations. Also, according to Where Have All the Bees Gone in May of 2026, it's heartbreaking, he said. You feel like you've thrown your own life away. Addie is one of hundreds of beekeepers in the United States who lost over 60% of their colonies in late 2024 and early 2025. It was the nation's worst ever mass honeybee die-off and the second major population crash in the last two decades. Last June, the agency, or the USDA, declared it had solved the mystery. Colonies had succumbed to viruses that were spread by the parasitic mite Varroa destructor. The destruction of these colonies has stemmed from the parasitic mite and has continued to be disrupted by these mites. Also, according to honeybees are dying at record rates, but the colony culprit count holds strong. In June of 2026, the USDA scientists traced the early 2025 collapses to viruses spread by the Varroa destructor mite. Project APIS-M put the economic hit above $600 million. The devastating impact on the economy and the ecological impact of these insects is insane. Bees are dying at rapid rates, and there are two reasons for this: because of human interference and because of Varroa destructors or mites. Because parasites are becoming immune to amitraz, there is little hope to be able to solve this issue if we continue to ignore this problem. Now that we know what's causing the issues of the bee collapse, we know that it's because of pesticides, climate change, and because of these mites. We can work together to try and save these bees and our pollinators in order to help our Earth and the United States. Thank you.